Hello everyone, I'm Hudi from State 65. As you know from the title, this video will be about formations, how to understand heroes, how to understand combinations, and maybe, who knows, in the future you will be able to discover some new formations that aren't discovered yet and kick some ass. But before we get into that, I want to say that I'm planning a new project with a couple people from our Discord channel where we will be creating a new bases and farm accounts in the newest state. I will, of course, capture everything on the video, the progress, how fast can we level up, etc. So if you're interested in this and maybe if you want to join, make sure to check out the Discord channel that is in the description and you can just um, join. Yeah. So let's get to the formations. Heroes. There is plenty of known combinations and I want to explain how and why they work so you know for the future if you will create some crazy combinations that no one ever tried yet. For example, Panther here, okay? Every hero has his own skills and they're unique most of the time. Uh, some are pretty straightforward and some you have to think about like how could they be useful in combination with other stuff. So for example, Panther, uh, he's got increased damage for all squads, passive damage. That's pretty straightforward. Another skill is first 3 turns, the 2 random vehicle squads have 70% chance to enter spluttering state, which means the damage will be spread. So that's another boost to basic attack damage, basically. So that's 2 out of 3 skills that regard basic attacks. And the last skill is counterattack state for the first row. So now when you have this information that Panther boosts basic attack damage of all the other squads, what are you gonna do with it is that you will find heroes that use basic attack as their primary source of damage. Moving to Ivanov, who was released at the same time as Panther. First skill, after normal attack, there is 40% chance to cause 2 attacks on random enemy. This is just a damage dealing ability, pretty good. So, second skill, after normal attack, there is 34% chance to deal damage and silence. So, that's another huge damaging skill. And the last skill is increase 80% damage for this hero squad. What it means is that his auto attacks will be 80% stronger. So, in combination with Panther, that boosts the basic attack damage and also have the spluttering status or the splash status, is a good combination. Now, if you take a look at Major Anastasia, for example, that's why this hero combination works pretty well, and I don't have her, but never mind. Major Anastasia has a skill. First skill is to remove debuffs from friendly vehicles and shooters, and this is also something you have to take in consideration. Most of the time you don't combine units. But as you saw, if you saw my strongest hero combination video, then you saw that we have combined fighters and shooters. Now, this is a vehicle hero, but also remove debuffs from shooters. So in theory, it could be combined. Who knows? So, and give basic attack. Look, The other part of the skill is that it will give basic attack 25% chance to cause 1 turn suppression. So that's a huge boost to basic attack heroes again. First 3 turns increased speed, that's great, and 70% chance to deal 2 basic attacks each turn, which means if a hero will be granted the splash status from Panther, it's gonna be, let's say, Panther boosts Ivanov to make him have the splash status, and Anastasia uh, gives him the 2 basic attack thingy. What will happen is that Captain Ivanov will have 200% damage on basic attacks from his and Panther's ability, and also will attack twice, and both of those times Panther will give him the splash status, which means he not only deals 400% of usual damage, but he will deal like 800%, maybe even 1000%. Where am I getting at? These 3 heroes combines together super well, and you shouldn't be separating them. Of course, Panther could be replaced, because even though he works super well with Major Anastasia and Ivanov, he doesn't have a healing ability, which is huge, and I will get to that later. And the last skill will add another 60% damage. So these 3 heroes are really powerful together, but as I said, it is possible in theory to combine Major Anastasia with, for example, shooters. Like I have tried a combination with Hummingbird and the Commissar, and it worked pretty well. It wasn't as powerful as the fighters, but it worked well. So there's no actual limitations. I mean, the only thing why you don't want to combine troops is that you will lose like 100% of might or resistance, uh, which is actually a huge thing. But if you have like pretty decent combination, for example, the fighters I mentioned before, or maybe you will find your own. So let's get to what's important. Right now I have mentioned the boosts to attack damage. That's one way. For example, if you take a look at Patriot, his ability gives 70% chance to enter counterattack state for the first row, which will return some decent damage. If you take a look at Crusher, for example, his ability will put him and only him to counterattack state as well. And if you take a look at Panther, which you already know because I've talked about him pretty thoroughly, it has another counterattack state. So in theory, you could combine these 3 heroes, and Crusher with Panther is really powerful, and I've tried that. I am using this combination. I am using Crusher, Panther, and Ivanov. If you have Major Anastasia against like this formation, then Anastasia has no chance because, okay, she will provide next 2 basic attacks, and what will happen is that one hero will basic attack my squad for 2000 damage, but if I have Crusher and Panther and both counterattack states are activated, then I will return 4000 damage. So instead of dealing damage to me, I'm actually dealing more damage to them. And Crusher also has a healing ability. If he is hit 6 times, he will recover 120%. It's not the damage received, but basically it's 670 troops per tick, and tick ticks 6 times. So it's like that's 3,900. 3,900 healed troops every turn. Uh, with the counterattack state for 3 rounds, it could destroy any formation. Like, this is so hard to explain, but for example, Countdown does not do basic attack damage. So my formation will die immediately against Countdown combinations. So as you probably already know, there are a couple of debuffs and buffs. That is evasion status, which will provide you from taking literally all the damage. That's provided by Hank, the Wanderer, uh, Vanguard, I believe, and some other heroes. That's a defensive mechanic. Okay, then there's reduced damage. That's mainly used for the first row heroes, which is like Deus Ex, Juggernaut. I don't know. There are plenty of heroes. You gotta scroll through all of them, read them thoroughly, and then you might figure out something. Then there is healing, recovering units. That is really huge. There are only 3 heroes so far that can stop recovering units, and with that, recovering is still the best defensive mechanism. So Tech Priestess is irreplaceable for fighters, and maybe you could combine her with some other troops, you know. So that's 3 defensive mechanism. For the 4th defensive mechanism, or you could say even offensive, it's the counterattack state that I've talked earlier about. Then there is suppression, that will stop the enemy squad for the whole turn. Then there is silence, that will disable using skills. Then there is confusion, that will like mislead. It will generate random targets for basic attacks and skills for the hero squad it hits. Then there is burning status or flammable status, that will deal damage every turn. That could be also used with Inquisitor, for example. That Inquisitor has a skill that will suppress the squad that is burning. And as far as I know, flammable status could be applied by Executioner and Hunk. And I believe that's it. So maybe I haven't tried this combination of Hunk, Executioner, and Inquisitor, but it could be doable. Why not? Then there is increased damage, lowering enemy damage. There are plenty of buffs and debuffs. And if you're unsure about, if you figure out a formation that you think it will work and you have no way to test it out, if you join our Discord channel or write me a comment under the video, I will like take a look at it and test it for you maybe. And that was for today's video. If you are interested in the project I mentioned at the start of the video, make sure to check the description for our Discord channel. I will put all the information about it in section Fresh Start, so make sure to check it out. And hope you liked the video, hope you learned something, or maybe gave you a creativity, why not? So thanks for watching, and bye.